Hey, what is up guys? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another update video. Now of course it's been a while and I do apologize for that. Unfortunately everything just happened so quickly. As I mentioned in my previous video, I was moving out this week into a new place, which I am now. I am currently sat in an office with not much put around the walls or anything like that, so if it is a little bit echoey for maybe a week or two, I do apologise. I will try my best to get that edited out. So of course this is going to be more of a normal talking update kind of video, just discussing everything that's kind of happened over the last, I guess, 9 days since my previous video. So if you wasn't there for that video, what had happened was I had a bunch of infections and I'd not been very well since the beginning of December until mid-January. So I'd had an infection in my jawbone, it spread into my gums, into my teeth, and really just kind of messed me up. Basically, I was waiting around for surgery, which happened in mid-January. I had a bunch of different antibiotics, had my surgery, had more antibiotics, and that should have been the end of it. So anyway, everything should have been resolved at that point, and my lymph nodes were doing what they should have done during the infection, which is kind of swell up to react to it, and then, you know, really kind of go down once the whole infection and issue had been kind of resolved. But one didn't, one in my neck. And I went for a follow-up a certain amount of time after to just make sure everything was okay, the whole infection was clear, the surgery was successful, and everything should have been normal. However, this lymph node in my neck had remained rock hard and swollen even after everything else had been, sorted. And it was a bit worrying. I basically got referred to my GP after this follow-up, who then referred me to a specialist in hospital. So the first thing I had to do was have emergency blood tests to see what was going on in my blood, see if there was anything they could pick up. I then had to have a chest x-ray just to make sure everything was kind of clear on that front, and that was all clear. I then had to go to an ENT, or ears, nose and throat specialist, who stuck a camera up my nose into my throat to check that general area, of course, with this lump being in my neck. And they was all happy with that, but of course they were still, kind of concerned that this lump was there in my neck still. So then they referred me to get an ultrasound and the kind of fine needle biopsy, where basically they stab into it to take some tissue out and just test it to see if there's anything, I guess, scary in there, or cancer. So anyway, as I mentioned in my previous video, the following Wednesday I was basically going to find out really what was going off. And of course it was this ultrasound test and the needle to just see exactly what was going on. So they did the ultrasound and realized that, yep, it is definitely a lymph node and this is not a separate lump. So it is certainly a lymph node that has swollen up and been kind of stuck there rock hard. Of course, they asked me about symptoms, things like fevers, night sweats, the typical things that show signs of a lymphoma, which is of course a type of blood cancer, I believe. At least that's what I kind of get the gist of, and that's really what they were testing me for. So I told them exactly what happened. I've been having night sweats, I've been really fatigued. Of course, I'd just completely not been myself. I got over this original issue and then still didn't feel absolutely fine. So I knew once that issue had been resolved that something just certainly wasn't right. So anyway, they're doing this ultrasound, they check around kind of my ears and that, because I've been getting a bit of earache and stuff like that, just quite a lot of headaches, pains and stuff like that. So she checked where kind of my ear canals are, and then checked into the rest of my neck, and then went over to the lump itself just to see what was going on. Of course, it was very much a more obvious lump. So she hovered over it just to kind of see what's going on there, and she thankfully said that they didn't seem to be anything to worry about, and that it's possible that the infection was there for so long before I'd even got these symptoms originally that I ended up having to get surgery for, that there's the possibility it's basically got stuck in a sense, and that I just need to monitor it for any changes. But at least at present there doesn't seem to be any kind of, I guess, mutations or whatever in it that kind of, signify anything a lot more scarier. So the ultrasound seemed okay, but definitely as a precaution they wanted to just make sure, there was nothing going on absolutely in there. So they stuck a needle in it just to see, give it a test, and you take some cells, tissue out of it, whatever it is that they do. Again, I'm not a healthcare professional, so I'm not fully clued up on this. It was just from the questions and things I was getting told and, I was asking at the time. So they stab it in there with the fine needle, take some stuff out of it, and then just kind of go ahead and test it. And then you kind of wait for your results. And funnily enough, I actually got a phone call just this morning to basically say that, you know, they've tested it and there is no cancer present. So thankfully, the massive worry that I'd had and what I was getting tested for had turned out to not be cancer. Now, that doesn't mean that there's nothing going on. From what I've been told, if it wasn't cancerous or there wasn't anything going on there, again, the possibility is that there still might be some kind of infection going on where I had my surgery, so I might just have to go and get, you know, more antibiotics. And again, I've just got to monitor it over time for any, you know, significant changes from where it's at now. So yeah, it doesn't seem to be cancerous, and I guess that cancer scare that I've had is now out the way and done with. But again, I've got to just continue to monitor it for any changes, but it does kind of go a long way to explaining the symptoms that I've been having. Of course, your lymph nodes react to infections and stuff, so things like night sweats, fatigue, and everything else that has come along with it, as well as the earache, it goes a long way to explaining why I'm getting those. But again, I've kind of got the all clear from cancer. It turns out I haven't got cancer, thankfully. That would be the last thing I want at my age. Again, I'm only 29 years of age. I really don't want to be going through that. I don't think anybody really wants to be going through that. But again, just getting that all clear gave me absolute peace of mind. But yeah, as they mentioned, there is still possibly something going off. That's probably why I'm not 100% fighting fit yet. So of course I do need to monitor that lymph node and of course try and get on top of things and just figure out what the cause is. Maybe there's still a bit of infection there. So to go back to my GPs basically and kind of get that checked up and just ensure that I get myself properly back to being myself in the long run, so I'm not kind of suffering with these kind of things or again going through another scare like I've just been through. But yeah, I have got the all clear from cancer. That is all over now. I don't require any more hospital appointments. I don't require any more tests, so all is pretty well. Again, it's just a weight off my shoulders and it is just peace of mind. And like I said to you guys in my previous video, look, if something doesn't feel right, absolutely just go and get it checked, no matter how ridiculous you feel. If something just is bothering you or it's causing you a lot of worry, anxiety or anything like that, just get it checked out. At the end of the day, that's what I've done here. I've got the all clear, but at least I know that for certain now. And I just want to give a huge thank you for the ridiculous amount of support you guys gave me on the previous video and going through this situation. I genuinely do appreciate it. So does my family as well. Honestly, it means the absolute world to me, and it was such a humbling experience just to kind of, see you guys being so supportive. It's just been ridiculous. It's been a wild situation. Hopefully everything settles down now and we can really get 2025 rolling properly. Again, apologies for the lack of content over the next week. Things will be starting to go back to normal now. Massive thank you to you all once again. Take care, guys. Peace.